Joining us now, actor and director Liev Schreiber, who was recently in Ukraine and Poland as part of a new initiative he co-founded called Blue Check Ukraine, which helps to identify, vet, and channel donations to organizations operating in Ukraine and in neighboring countries. It's good to have you on.
Liev, thanks so much for being here. Great to have you with us, and so glad you started this organization. I'm wondering, what was the genesis of it, your thought in putting together this type of operation?
Well, a friend of mine from school called me, and I think the two of us had spent enough time on the couch being depressed about the news cycle and wanted to do something. And there was a couple other former staffers from Doctors Without Borders who joined us. And then we partnered with an organization called the U.S.-Ukraine Foundation. And the idea was to make it easier for Americans who want to help in Ukraine, and people from around the world, really, to help. And so what we're trying to do is target NGOs and organizations on the ground in Ukraine who are doing the most help, so that we can kind of vet them to verify them and fast-track financial support to them.
Well, you know, that's so important, because so many Americans, and I know people all over the world, are seeing what's unfolding in Ukraine, and you want to help, and you want to send money, but then you remember in the past when people rushed donations places, you'd read stories 5-10 years later about how some of that money was misused. That's why I love this concept. Could you tell people that are watching right now that want to help Ukrainians, what do you do specifically to vet these organizations to make sure that when they send the money, it goes to help the people that are in the most dire need?
Well, because of our affiliation with the U.S.-Ukraine Foundation, we have pro bono help from the law firm Ropes and Gray, and we also have Integrity Risk International helping us to vet these organizations. And we have people on the ground meeting with them and talking with them, as I did a week ago in Lviv. I think if there's any... Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm curious just about the work that you've done so far with this organization you created. Are you more depressed? How much are you learning about the need that has been created out of this war, not just in Poland, but Romania, Slovakia, and other places where they're trying to help refugees?
First, before I went into Ukraine, I spent a week working with Jose Andres' extraordinary organization, the World Central Kitchen. And I cooked with them for a week and sort of saw the need and how it was changing and evolving. But once I went inside Ukraine, I think the overwhelming take for me was just the incredible resilience and the courage of the Ukrainian people. And I think, if there's... If there's any silver lining at all in the war in Ukraine, I think it came at a time when things feel polarized in this country. And I think probably the biggest mistake that Putin made was to commit an act that in my mind has galvanized us and remind us as Americans what it is to be American, that we are essentially a nation of grandchildren, and that we are really only removed by one generation from things like this. And with that sort of groundswell of support that I'm seeing and feeling from American people, what we were just trying to figure out is how can we help them help? Because not everybody can get on a plane and go visit Lviv or go cook in one of Jose's incredible kitchens. But so what we tried to do was create something sort of similar to the GiveWell group that rates charities and makes sure that your money isn't going to the wrong places. Because as we all know, there is a black market there, and there's a lot of people who are not getting all of the money to the people who need it. And these organizations that we're working with are local and small, so that they're really, and also in many cases Ukrainian, so they're really able to identify where the money and where the support needs to go.
So President Zelensky has said, like, his great fear is, especially if this war does move into a new phase where it's a protracted battle in the east, that it's going to fade from the headlines somewhat, that it won't be the dominant story. And he knows that that the Ukrainians need help, not just weapons from Western governments, but also donations from regular people. That it's going to cost billions to keep this country up and running. while the war goes on. So talk to us. You started to go there. Now, talk to us a little bit more about the need to make sure that that money and attention goes to the right people and that there remains a focus on what they so desperately need.
Yeah, well, sometimes with a lot of these bigger international charity organizations, they become a little unwieldy and have trouble operating in war zones. And the great thing is that with Blue Check, most of these organizations are on the ground in Ukraine or Ukrainian. And the great thing about that is that as the news cycle changes and things fade or evolve in different ways, these people are uniquely equipped to identify and fast-track support where it needs to be. And so that's why we were trying really specifically to work with Ukrainian organizations and organizations like Jose's, like World Central Kitchen, that are actually on the ground in Ukraine.
You know, we keep showing images of an orchestra, and Liev was able to spend time with the orchestra in Lviv a few weeks ago while it rehearsed Mozart's Requiem. That had to be unbelievably moving for you.
I can't. It was so powerful. You know, talking about being a nation of grandchildren, of course, my grandparents are Ukrainian, and to have that experience, this is not my first time in Ukraine, but to have that experience to go back, and in terms of what I was expecting to see versus what I saw, was really quite powerful. And to see this orchestra playing that Requiem at this time, they've taken out all the seats of the theater because they've filled the theater up with boxes of medical supplies and food that they're shipping out to the front lines and to people who need them. So,
well, that just says it all.
Yeah, really did.
Liev Schreiber, thank you so much. For more information on the Blue Check initiative, visit usukraine.org/bluecheck. And that does it for us this morning.